What's it like being a Jamaican in Saudi Arabia? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, the founder of Jamaicans.com. Today in Jamaicans to the World, we talk to Kevin Thomas, who lives in Saudi Arabia. Welcome, Kevin. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Javier. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, first question. Where in Jamaica are you from?
Junction St. Elizabeth.
Oh, I St.
St.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
I think this is one of my first St. Elizabeth, if I recall.
Really? It's good to have a first, Javier. Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us your story and how did you end up in Saudi Arabia?
Well, Saudi Arabia, I had hopes of going to Saudi Arabia, but not quite yet.
Okay.
I was already working in China for 7 years,
Uh-huh.
and my intention was to go to work in Japan. So I have two friends there, one Japanese, one Chinese. Everything is all fine with them, but as soon as we talk about politics, then I have to be between them. There was this fight. So I thought it would be best to visit the country of Japan to learn their customs and their way of life, to better understand them. So then I decided, okay, I'll go to work in Japan. So to get the job in Japan, I had to do interviews in Bangkok, Thailand. And this was just after that big tsunami happened in probably 2011, I think it was. So when I got to Bangkok and I got into the hall where we're having the interviews, all the schools from Japan canceled. Every single one canceled. I remember standing there thinking, wow, what will I do now? And this is where, I say at this point, I leave it in God's hands. That's it. Let's see what happens. There were three schools from the Middle East. There was Bahrain, Kuwait, and Saudi. They all liked me, all offered contracts, but Saudi offered 1 year while the others offered 2 years. So I said, okay, let me try Saudi for a year, and I'm still here, man. Yep. Yeah.
So my question is, it's interesting because they offered you 1 year. Everybody offered you 2 years. So
Yes.
what was more interesting about doing the 1 year? Did you want some flexibility?
Partly because a sense of fear was there. A lot of my family, mostly my American family, this was the time of the uprisings. I forget the name of it, that started in Algiers with all the uprisings happening. So
Okay.
the region was like my aunts or family in the US would say, listen,
Right.
they're surrounding you. Eventually they're gonna get to you. It's not
I
safe.
see.
So I said, listen, it's just 1 year. I think it will be fine. So yeah, that
Okay.
1 year turned into more than 8. Yeah, almost 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Saudi Arabia. Let me start here with the people. What are the people like? What is the culture and the people like in Saudi Arabia?
Well, of course, it's what I what are the one of the things I really liked Javier are I like the differences. People are we said our similarities are more than our differences around the world, but our differences can be quite striking. And from these differences, they present you great learning opportunities. So you do your research before you get there, and a big part of being there was that gender separation. So having to navigate through the gender separation, it was all fine. Nothing prevented you from working or being yourself, but you just get to understand people and build friendships. It was very important that you remain respectful of the norms of the society. And once people have ascertained that you're respectful of that, Javier, then friendships begin to materialize. And that's why I ended up staying much longer. Yeah.
Okay.
So the fear of, people are going to be difficult. No, I didn't find that difficult. I found them very friendly, very happy. But on the surface, you must agree to certain norms and respect it, and they have to understand that.
I I see. So was the transition in terms of the norms, because I've spoken to a few other folks that are in that region,
Yeah.
and there's an adjustment. Was it a very difficult adjustment, or you're able to easily assimilate?
For me, it was quite easy. From the get-go, of course, going to a new place, you you hang up your preconceived notions of what a place is, and you begin kind of like at 0 point. So differences were kind of an invitation to learn about a place. So when I had an all-boys classroom, I began to understand about myself. You know, you learn more about yourself in situations like this. You know, you're moving from a mixed classroom to an all-boys classroom. How do you manage it? You know, what are the challenges? And you just learn from that and go with it. And I found it quite enlightening. Yeah.
You know, that's interesting. So when you were in Jamaica, um, what high school you went to? Was it a mixed high school, or was it you know, all boys, or all boys, obviously?
Yeah. There were two. So there's Monroe College, which is all boys.
Right.
Yeah. So from a prep school, which is mixed, to an all boys school. And then my last 2 years was in Bel Air. So then I went back to a mixed school. Yeah.
I see. Because I went to all boys. I went to Jamaica College. So
Yeah.
it was all boys. And so I figure, you know, if you went to all boys, probably that adjustment wasn't as bad.
It is still quite an adjustment, because now the tables are turned. You're a teacher as opposed to being the student.
I see.
So you're seeing it from a whole new ball game. You're actually learning how you operated as a child in that classroom. So it was quite interesting, Javier.
So what is the thing you'd say I absolutely love about this culture? What do you absolutely just love about the culture there in Saudi Arabia?
What I really found interesting was, coming from home with friendships, friendships, once they cross a certain line, a sense of honor steps in. So you're expected to live up to your friendships through honor. So no matter what happens, you have to maintain that relationship. It's not so easily broken. So I found in Saudi that was the case. Friendships became deeply meaningful. So people are there to protect you all the time. So I found that very, very reassuring, that people will be there for me once you develop these very deep friendships. It's a sense of loyalty.
I see. So let me ask you, I want to press a little bit on that. You know, is making friends with the people, the Saudi people, something that, you know, some people take a while to warm up to? You know, is it you know, kind of that type of way, or is it, you know, like we say, you meet somebody and you're like, well, I'm a spirit tech you. You know, go ahead.
That's a marked difference. In Jamaica, our friendship there's an immediacy of friendship coming from home in Jamaica. Living in China, it takes a while to warm up. And I would say the Saudis are quite very friendly, very, very quick with friendships, but it's not as immediate as Jamaica. It does take some warming up. They need to have this idea of who you are, where you're coming from, what your values are. And then once you cross that, then you're fine. But it's not as immediate as home. Not as immediate.
I see. So when someone learns that you're Jamaican, what happens? What are the questions? Give me, you know, if maybe you have an experience where you say, I'm from Jamaica, and then boom, something happens, and talk to me about that.
Yeah. Yes. It happens all the time with, you know, people within society or arriving at customs, you know. So are you Jamaican? Yes, I am Jamaican. And then they'll ask me, are you sure? And then, you know, you want to say, you know, how sure am I going to be? There's a passport in your hand, you know. Or people will say, are you really sure? And then they'll extend it further. They'll say, are your parents Jamaican? I was like, yes, they are Jamaican. And are their parents Jamaican? I'm like, yes, they're also Jamaican. As far as I can go back, they're Jamaicans. So it's this preconceived notion. And there are times where, depends on where you are, there's a sense of mistrust. Is he telling the truth? So it does happen sometimes where, you get the look, is he really honest in where he's from? When you live in parts of the world where there tends to be higher levels of, mistrust or fear, it takes time for them to really, wash that preconceived notion of what, Jamaicans look like. So, but it offers a great teaching opportunity, and then it gets into the history and how we came about. So the opportunity is there for me to teach somebody about what Jamaica is. So I don't mind it. I absolutely don't mind it. Yeah.
So the Saudi view, apart from thinking Jamaicans are to look, or the people you encounter, not only Saudi you mentioned, that Jamaicans are to look one way, what also is their perception of a Jamaica? I've heard different celebrities, they automatically know these different celebrities. Or some people may say, once they realize you are actually Jamaican, some say the red carpet rolls out.
Yes.
So, go ahead.
It does happen in some places where, when they'll test you, they'll look at you and like, so you're from Jamaica, so do you know Bob Marley? And as soon as you say yes, you say, Bob Marley, then that's kind of like a key to say, then some people may question you on some songs. Of course, they all know No Woman No Cry. So, if you're Jamaican, you're going to have to know that. So, so in their way, they're testing you. They're still testing you because, they're still in disbelief. One funny scenario within the region as well. I remember it must have been, I think it was Dubai. So, there are people on the streets who, they're part of illegal trade or whatever. So they try to sell you something. So of course, quite a few people, they take on a Jamaican persona. They're not Jamaican, but they take on a Jamaican persona to be cool about something. And so I was approached by one guy, hey, so you're looking for something? I'm a Jamaican and I have the right stuff. I was like, Immediately I knew he wasn't. And so I kind of pushed him and I, kind of followed him along his train. I was like, listen, you're talking to a Jamaican. Then he started laughing. I was like, ha ha ha. I was like, you are talking to a Jamaican. And then, it got to the point where he says, listen, if you're Jamaican, I'm not Nigerian. I was like, aha, I thought you said you were Jamaican. So now I know who you really are. So it was one of those moments where if he could dig a hole, he would have jumped completely in that hole. So because it's this fixed mindset, and sometimes it's very difficult for people to perceive otherwise.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
So in terms of food in Saudi Arabia, what is the food like? And what would you say is the one thing, if I was to visit Saudi Arabia, or anyone was to visit Saudi Arabia, it'd say, listen, you got to try this.
All right, then you'll have to try kabsa. Kabsa is the dish. It can be chicken or beef or mostly lamb, and it's made on a big bed of rice. And that rice is really nice rice. It's spiced up with raisins and nuts and saffron. Really, really nice. So it's kind of like this really soft stewed meat on a bed of rice. And that's basically what it is. And that's very typical of Saudi dishes. When you compare, Jamaica, we have a lot more variety in our dishes. But in the Middle East, there are greater varieties when you take other countries into consideration. The Lebanese, the Indians, and Moroccan, Egyptian. So then you get a Middle Eastern is quite, the varieties are wide, but within each one, I think, not as many varieties. Yeah.
I mean,
But
so then my follow-up is this. Is there a Jamaican restaurant in Saudi Arabia or near where you are that you go and get your fix?
no, no, absolutely no. Yes, I'd have to wait till I go home, Javier. That's it. Yeah.
Or probably go back to, again, I don't know the stops. I think a lot of people say they sometimes travel through London or whatever on their way back home from that region. Probably London or somewhere along the way you'd have to stop in, or Dubai, or probably go to Dubai for your Jamaican food.
Yeah, usually on the way home it will be London, Miami, then Kingston. So along the way, yes, I do get my fix, but the real fix comes when I get home. My special dish is always waiting.
And what's that special dish now? When you get off the plane, what's that special dish?
That's waiting at home, yes?
Yes.
Stew peas.
Ah.
Always stew peas.
I love my stew peas, I love my stew peas too.
Yeah, so on the way home, usually from Miami, then we always make a stop along the way, which
right.
is close to, just outside of Maypen. We stop to get, patties, yeah.
So, I know Saudi people think of Saudi as oil, right? They think of oil when it comes to Saudi Arabia. They're thinking oil rich, and so on. I'm sure there are some places that you would say, listen, this is an amazing place to go visit. Can you give me one or two of these places that you say, listen, if you come to Saudi Arabia, I would say go see this. And it may not be a place, it may be an experience, it may be something that you say, hey, there's this restaurant or there's this thing, you have to experience this if you come to Saudi Arabia.
Okay, well, with Saudi, it's within a vast desert area. So one of the things you'll definitely have to do would be go out to the red sand dunes, maybe camp the night, and just have tea. That would be a brilliant experience. Having tea, just camping out in the desert. Absolutely brilliant. Just outside Riyadh, there's a place called Edge of the World, and it's just out of this world. It's a huge plateau that then just drops off hundreds of feet, and you feel like you're way out there in space or something. So very unique, very different environment. A very special one for me, which may be hard for others to get into, was to go. Every year there's the annual hunt for falcons, and this is close to the Kuwaiti border. So with friends, each year we would go to hunt falcons. So I was a lot into doing photography, so I would follow them around, taking photos.
Okay.
And watch them hunt, trying to catch that falcon that the princes would buy for, high figures. Yeah.
So let me dig into that a little bit now. So what is there some symbolism? Is it for food? Is it for game? Why falcons? Why in particular falcons?
Well, falcons, they do have a very prestigious way about them. They're very elegant animals. So the princes, a beautiful falcon, they'd like to just have it kind of like as a pet. Yeah. So it's mostly as a pet for food. Yeah.
Okay. I see. So when do they do this hunt? You say once a year?
In October. That's the migration path. So it's usually October. Yes. So yes, it's quite interesting.
And you do photography, you say?
My kind of hobby. Yeah. So I follow them around.
I was just gonna ask and give the audience an opportunity to go visit. If you had a website that you post your photos on, the audience can go see that. So I don't know if you do have a website you post your photos on. I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but
yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Usually, I do it on Facebook and then Instagram. So on Instagram, it will be out of many one people travels, and that's
Okay,
where I put my travel photos. So
I
it's
see.
out of many, the number one, people travels. Yeah. So quite a few are there. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for that, Javier.
No problem. So, what is the thing that you'd say you miss the most about Jamaica?
I've been, what I miss the most, I've been traveling for a while, and besides living in, China and Saudi, lots of travels. The thing I'd miss the most, Javier, is the immediacy of friendship, which we touched on earlier. Is that immediacy of friendship. It's very quick. Um, our eyes kind of become an extension of our smiles. And it's that it feels like that Caribbean warm sun is shining in the faces when people smile. And it's very warm, and I really miss that. Um, Other parts of the world, the shine comes, but eventually, not at the beginning so much. So I really miss that immediacy of friendship and just warm faces. We smile with the face, not just the lips. Yeah.
Yes, yes, indeed. Um, so, did you learn the language when you got there?
Yes, studied Arabic. We're, I'm kept in such English environments. Like I had the same challenge while in China. You're part of such an English environment, the international schools, that if learning on and off really doesn't help. You really can't say you speak a language if you just know a few phrases. So at the end of my time in China, I studied for a year in university. I wanted the same for Saudi, but that system is not in place. So I've had to on and off try, and it's very challenging. It's my most challenging language so far.
Okay,
When you think
okay.
of exceptions, we only have a few. All the rest are in Arabic. Believe me. So it does take a while to get your head around it. Yeah.
Well, we're winding down, and the reason I asked about the languages, I'm going to
Mhm.
kind of put you on the spot now
Right.
because I tried to say, I've been trying to say in the last few series, goodbye in the language that the person I speak to is learning. So,
Mhm.
any closing thoughts, and then you have to teach me how to say goodbye
All
in
right.
a. So, any closing? Do you have any final words?
Final words in terms of living in the Middle East, or just in general about being
Anything.
Jamaican
Could
in
be
life.
general about living in the Middle East. A word of advice. Anything.
Well, the world is there. Go for it. Go travel. Um, just make sure before traveling, we kind of rid our minds of preconceived notions. Do your research so you can understand the society, what their norms are. So you can be mindful not to offend anyone, you know, which is highly important that you're not seen as offending one's beliefs, even if you do not follow that belief system. And from Jamaica, I'd just say, in many ways, Javier, we are role models in some way or the other, especially those leaders or people in the limelight. So for home, I would just, we're still from a very blessed place, in terms of our cohesiveness as a society. And
Right.
I'd just like our leaders to continue choosing words or phrases or speak responsibly, so we can always build bridges,
Good.
um, and make sure our communities stay very cohesive and connected. So, we can really be truly living and breathing entities of, I think, what is one of the humanity's best coined phrases out of many one people.
Great.
I think, we are
Yes.
blessed in many ways in that way, because I've seen tensions around the world, and I wouldn't want to see irresponsible communication kind of affect that back home. So it's
Okay.
something that we can remain mindful of.
Good.
Mm.
Good. Well, Kevin, thank
Yes.
you for spending some time with us, giving us some insight on Saudi Arabia and your story there. So now you're gonna teach me how to say goodbye in Arabic?
All right, good. I'll do that. So I'm sure you've heard the term salam.
Yes.
Can you say that?
Salam.
Good, which means peace. So ma salama would be, yeah.
Okay. All right. So here we go.
Ma salama.
Salama.
You got to get ma. You got to get that glottal part in. Ma salama.
Ma salama.
Oh, close enough. I can give you 8 out of 10, Javier.
All right. So ma salama, Kevin.
Ma salama, Javier, and take good care.
Show us some love now. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a video.